Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. And if you want to support us, you can leave a 5-star review and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on.
And if you do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of that review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon. So if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And make sure to follow us at our social handles. We are Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. You could also visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us or book a reading with Dana.
Yay.
Yay.
Do all of that. Okay, so Dana, what are we talking about today?
Chappell Roan.
Woo!
Chic.
Did I tell you guys that the other day, Danton's like, who's that like new pop star, Cleo Patron? I was like,
damn it.
I was like, are you referring to Chappell Roan as Cleo Patron? Honestly, a great drag name, though.
Yeah.
Somebody I know once said that pronounced it Chappell. I was like, that's not right.
Yeah, no.
Not right. Not right at all. But you know what? She kind of blew up and came out of nowhere for a lot of people. But in case you don't know who she is, Chappell Roan is an American singer, songwriter. She's been making music for like 10 years, but she had a hugely breakout performance at Coachella, an NPR Tiny Desk concert that went viral, an insane Lollapalooza set. Like, it was just a sea of people in pink. And I think it was broke records for the biggest set at Lollapalooza
correct.
Of all time.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
She's had a number one
think
album.
about that.
I mean,
I know,
yeah, we've been to many a Lollapalooza, and I don't know if I've ever been in a crowd like that, which I'm kind of thankful for, but it looked kind of incredible.
Insane.
So yeah, her year's been wild, like crazy, crazy wild. And so let's learn a little bit more about her and her astrology.
So she was born Kaylee Rose Amstutz. That's probably not how you say her last name.
I think it is.
But also, she hates her name Kaylee, so we're just going to be calling her Chappell this whole time. But she was the oldest of 4 children. She lived in a trailer park in a very, very small town. I think there's like 6,000 people where she's from. Her mom, Kara, was a vet or is a vet. Her dad, Dwight, is a nurse, and he managed this family health practice. And growing up, her town was just like very conservative, and she was raised extremely religious and went to church 3 times a week with her family. So I'm sure they're loving her new look and vibe these days. So Dana, what's her big 3?
Okay, she was born on February 19th, 1998, between 8:15 p.m. and 10:41 p.m. She's confirmed that she's a Libra Rising, but she didn't say what time. So that's the Libra Rising times. I set my chart for 9:30 p.m., which gives her a 15-degree Libra Rising. So right in the middle of...
Like me. Well, close to me. I'm a 19. My sister.
Your sister, Chappell. She was born in Willard, Missouri. That's her tiny town. And she's a Pisces Sun, a Sagittarius Moon, and a Libra Rising, which is perfect. So also she's the same birthday as Rihanna, or was Rihanna born the 20th?
I don't know.
I should
will
know.
Because you should know.
Shame on you.
Well, I've honestly stopped. I've been a little upset ever since I learned about her factory. So.
Oh, it's the 20th. Feb 20th.
All right.
Yeah. So they're not the same, but we love a Sag Moon.
They're both the same. Their suns at the same degree. Anyway. Ignore me. So she's a Pisces Sun. So she's ethereal. She's sort of between worlds, powerful, enigmatic, dreamy, creative, and she needs boundaries. She has her sun's in the 6th house. So physical health and routine maintenance are a major part of her life. The 6th house is the house of subjugation, which can be subverted by people with 6th house placements by keeping their side of the street clean and choosing to do service and working hard. Also having pets as like therapy and also taking care of a pet, something to take care of and something that helps you.
I mean, she grew up with a veterinarian as a mom, so I'm sure she had a lot of animals around.
Oh, yeah. And her sun's ruled by Jupiter, domicile, also in Pisces and conjunct her sun. So this really strengthens her sun, props it up. Jupiter is support, optimism, belief, good faith. And in domicile, it's strong. And in Pisces, it's exceptional, both creativity and making greater connection with the world and like, you know, sort of the spirit part of the world. Also, she has Mars in Pisces, rejoicing in her 6th house. So she's capable, proactive, productive, creative, spiritually connected. When a planet rejoices in a house, it means that's where the planet gets its accidental dignity in that house. So it's stronger. And so, yeah, Mars in the 6th house is able to be productive. At least you also have Mars in the 6th house.
I feel like I'm relatively productive.
Oh.
When I want to be.
It's a Gemini, so it's you can turn it on and off. And then she has a Sagittarius moon. So humor is a coping mechanism. She needs to have fun. She needs to feel validated. And she needs to believe in something with all of her heart and soul. And she was born on a last quarter moon. So she walks her talk. She's wise. She knows what she wants, but she's inflexible about how she gets it. She wants to do things her way. And she was born 6 days before a South Node solar eclipse in Pisces. So her South Node is also in Pisces along with her Mars, Sun, and Jupiter. And people, of course, born on eclipses, we know have extreme circumstances in life. So many famous people were born on eclipses. And her moon is also ruled by Jupiter domicile in Pisces. So her sun and moon are both ruled by Jupiter. She's a true Jupiterian, which once again calls into themes of good faith, needing to believe in something, being optimistic, and gaining support and popularity. And she also has her moon conjunct Pluto, and it's a tight conjunction. So there's emotional intensity, emotional transformation, body modification, perhaps. She's just a magnetic aura, and she really needs to own her emotions. That's what she learns in life and probably young. And she defends herself and her feelings because people will come for her. Sagittarius is the only sign with a weapon. So that's, defensive. And again, she's a Libra rising, so she's fair-minded, relationship-oriented, very clever, peacemaking, accommodating. She knows how to weigh all of her options. She's very pretty, very attractive, and again, magnetic. So her rising is ruled by her rising is ruled by Venus in Capricorn in her 4th house. So her Capricorn's a sign of the old, tradition, and her style and aesthetics, which is Venus, evokes another earlier era, and she owns it. It's all her own. And it's in her 4th house. And so her family holds her down. And I'm pretty sure she chose her stage name from a family member, her grandfather, I think. So that's also sort of calling back to grand tradition. Also, Venus stationed direct 14 days before she was born, which will come into play later. But this means that her Venus is not moving super fast. It's sort of right after a direct station. It's going to be moving a little slower, and it's getting back into the swing of things. And it's also so loud in her chart. And because her whole big three is ruled by the two benefics, Jupiter and Venus, she's beloved, but people feel entitled to her. And they always want more and more and more and more. And she has to put down those boundaries on when to give and when to stop. And she also, some important retrogrades. So Chiron stationed retrograde 10 days after she was born. So around age 10, she could have experienced some sort of monumental suffering or something that really called into a new talent. Chiron can be about suffering. It could be about talents a lot of times, and also healing. And then Pluto stationed retrograde 19 days after she was born. So around age 19 could have been about stepping into her own power and really also embodying herself, since her moon is conjunct Pluto.
That's really interesting because at 10 years old, that's when she started playing piano. And then at 14 years old, when you said Venus station retrograde, right? 14 or...
That was before. So 14 isn't really, it's not relevant.
Oh, okay. But
actually in converse progressions, it would be relevant.
She started, that's when she uploaded her first YouTube.
No way.
Song. And then in 19, that's when she got her record deal.
Interesting. So an argument for both converse and secondary progressions.
Yeah. Okay. So she started taking piano lessons, which was a big deal for her. In 8th grade, she performed a song for the first time at a talent show. And then she uploaded her original song, Die Young, to YouTube in 2014, which we mentioned. And then also, I didn't know she went to Interlochen.
Oh my God, that's Jeffrey Epstein's camp.
Yes, we have friends that went to Interlochen. If you grew up in the Midwest and you were musically talented at all, you went to Interlochen. I think she said that was a really transformative experience for her, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then, like we mentioned, after she started releasing songs on YouTube, she was signed to Atlantic Records. She released her first single, Good Hurt, in August of 2017.
Oh my God, August 2017 was the Great American Eclipse.
Damn.
The Great American Eclipse.
I think that's what they called it, right?
They did call it that. I remember that time.
Remember when Trump just looked at it without glasses on?
Oh, that was that one. Yeah, they were like, please wear sunglasses. You will go blind. He was like, nope. Nope. Don't tell me I'll go blind. Stare directly into the eclipse.
And then, she released her first EP, School Nights, a month later.
So then Chappell eventually moves to LA. She said that moving there made her question everything she knew. She was also homesick. She starts to explore her sexuality, and now she identifies as a lesbian.
Yes, and she changed her name to Chappell Roan, and the name is a combination of her grandfather's last name, which Dana mentioned, and a word taken from his favorite song, The Strawberry Roan by Curly Fletcher. So
What
cute.
do you think a roan is?
I was
don't know.
I was wondering the same.
I bet it's like a bird.
Someone look it up.
What is a roan? Let's see. Oh, it's a horse.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God, she's a Sagittarius moon.
Oh.
And she's a night chart, so her moon is her favored luminary. Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, well, she is heavily inspired by drag and identifies as a drag performer. She also cited Kate Bush of Running Up That Hill, Stranger Things fame, as a big influence for her. And her music is inspired by 1980s synth pop and 2000s singles. She's also known as being like campy because she does like do a drag moment.
Love it.
Yeah, we also have an episode on Kate Bush if you want to learn more. Okay, so Chappell's releasing songs, but she kind of switches things up a little in 2020 with her single Pink Pony Club, which I'm obsessed with that song. But Atlantic Records wasn't really feeling that, her new vibe. It's less like pop. I don't know, I think it's still poppy, but it's a little more ballady, I guess. And Atlantic Records dropped her because they just kind of weren't feeling the new direction.
So she takes a little break and then she starts releasing songs independently. And she releases her debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, on Island Records in 2023. And the album was, at the time it was released, it got a lot of nice indie critical acclaim. I feel like Pitchfork talked about it and it was in several best albums of the year lists. But in terms of like popularity in the general market, it was like not that successful. So what was going on when she released her album?
So her album was released on September 22nd, 2023. And on this day, the sun was in Virgo, the moon was in Sagittarius, and 2023 for her was a second house Scorpio Mars year. So the second house is about income and resources. Mars is about power and pursuit. Her natal Mars is in Pisces, rejoicing in her sixth house. So it's about productivity and work. Her transiting Mars album release was in Libra in her first house, opposite her natal Saturn in Aries. So Mars in her first house is putting power in her hands. And solar return Mars in Gemini was in her Gemini in her natal ninth house. And so this is the house of idols and icons. And Saturn was literally conjunct her sun in her sixth house at the first degree of Pisces. It's also conjunct her Jupiter. So Saturn, of course, on her sun, and Jupiter is about maturity. It's about hard work paying off, but hard work also being never ending. It's like now the work is just beginning because you're getting sort of this attention. Also, work could be affecting her health. She really needs to get that under wraps. It's about service, serving the people. It could be about feeling subjugated. Also slow and steady. And there's really an awareness of time and sort of like now is the moment, right? Like tackling time. And then Mercury was conjunct her north node in her 12th house in Virgo. So Mercury is exalted in domicile. So this is sort of, darkly, it's like being a ward of the state, public property. A lot of famous people have 12th house placements. It's also about getting her message out and having divine communication, really needing that alone time. And she's having her lunar return in Sagittarius, and it's a first quarter moon. Remember, she was born on a last quarter moon. So it's about actions, milestones, turning points, really setting up the next move. With the new moon, of course, signaling a new cycle. The first quarter moon is like, okay, let's get moving. And in terms of the Venus cycle, I've really buried the lead here, as I am prone to do, because this is the most exciting part. So September 22nd was 18 days after Venus stationed direct in Leo. And if you remember, she was born 14 days after Venus stationed direct in Capricorn. So this is major. That only happens once every 18 months, Venus retrograde. So the fact that that's when she released it, it's really mimicking when she was born. And so it's just showing that it's a really major time in her life. It's also in her 11th house. Venus was retrograde in Leo in her 11th house of audience. So it's sort of like, now you're out there. Now you're out there, kid.
Oh my God, I forgot about that Venus retrograde in Leo. That just like came for everyone.
Yeah, my first house.
Ooh, good times.
Great times. So Chappell starts touring with Olivia Rodrigo on her Olivia's Guts World Tour and getting more popular. Her and Olivia share the same record producer. And her popularity really starts to snowball. She plays at Coachella for the first time, and everyone's like, oh my God, we love her. She's so campy, theatrical. She's going to headline here one day.
She also plays Governor's Ball. She releases her single Good Luck Babe. She has an NPR Tiny Desk concert. And all of these combined, she really blows up on TikTok, especially Olivia Rodrigo. Like every Gen Z, I feel like, loves Olivia. So, she really got her face out there. And then her album that she released in 2023 peaked within the top 10 on the Billboard 200. So she just got super famous, super fast. And she, announced a tour. It sold out in minutes. So she's like the big thing right now.
Yeah. And they've had to upgrade every single venue on her tour to something bigger because it's sold out so quickly. And there's so many people that want to see her. So
the opposite
this
problem everyone else is having.
Yeah, literally. People are canceling tours because they can't fill stadiums, and Chappell is people can't get enough. So it's kind of crazy because the fact that she released that album a year ago and it's really just kind of starting to blow up. Well, it's been blowing up, but still, it wasn't immediate fame, but it all came sort of just as a wave. But there are rumors that she's an industry plant, which I don't think I personally buy, but people are saying that, if you don't know what an industry plant is, it's when there's a major music industry, music label push to make someone popular, all while the singer kind of pretends that they're homegrown talent that made it big on their own. And so I feel like, she's been doing this for 10 years. And of course, a record label is going to put marketing behind a record they want to be successful. So I don't know. I know people said that about Ice Spice. I don't know. I think people generally just work hard for what they get. You know what I mean?
I do think, though, with her and Sabrina Carpenter, at least in my Spotify algorithm,
Sabrina Carpenter gives more industry plant based on how long she's been in the industry and how hard they've been pushing her on us.
Well,
right?
On Spotify specifically, and I know Spotify also, I think, did this with Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer, but between Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter, when my playlist ends and then it's up to the Spotify algorithm to give me a song, it's always either one of their songs.
Oh, interesting.
Every time.
Interesting.
The algo.
Okay.
Yeah.
A Spotify plant. All right, you guys, we've solved it. How I think about that is that just if I don't like someone, they're an industry plant. And if I do, then they're not.
Yeah. And so we like Chappell Roan. So they're not. So she's not.
So if you were to pinpoint people, when did she become famous? A lot of people who are not in she's an industry plant conspiracy camp think it was her Tiny Desk concert that really put her on the map. But regardless if she's won or not, 2024 was a huge year for her. So Dana, what was going on?
Okay, so for this, I just looked at her birth chart with her solar return chart and then her progressions for her birthday this year for 2024. So her solar return was on February 20th, 2024. And this is when she began a third house Sagittarius Jupiter year. So third house is writing, communication, locality, or immediate environment. That's also your perception of your environment. And her natal Sagittarius placements are her moon Pluto conjunction. So that's going to be about power games, going head to head, emotional regulation, and embodiment. And then her natal Jupiter is domicile in Pisces, and it's conjunct her sun. It's in her sixth house of work. It's also conjunct her south node and Mars. So she's strong, capable. She has faith in herself. And her hard work is rewarded with self-actualization. And her solar return Jupiter is in Taurus in her eighth house. And the eighth house is where, it's with a benefic in the eighth house, you get favors, but there are strings attached. And her solar return was coinciding with her Mercury return in Aquarius in her fifth house. So it's about speaking up for herself and her art, also having intellectual command, cerebral art, or communicating through her art. The fifth house is the house of passion projects and art that you make to express yourself, not art that you make for a market. And she's a progressed Venus-Uranus conjunction in Aquarius, also in her natal fifth house. So really taking the world by storm, and it's her own creative terms that her natal, this is actually an argument against being an industry plant because her chart ruler is Venus. So Venus conjunct Uranus in the progress chart is like, this is just when she was going to rise no matter what. And with all her big three being in signs that struggle with boundaries, either setting them or having them trampled on by others, it's great that she's speaking up and not just taking it lying down. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, that's a good segue, Dana. But yeah, considering her sudden high rise in popularity, it should come as no surprise that she's feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of this fame. She even went on TikTok to express her frustration with fans and said that people have been harassing her and her family.
Yeah. And this is a quote from her. She said, if you saw a random woman on the street, would you yell at her from the car window? Honestly, I live in Miami. That happens every day to any person on the street. Would you harass her in public? Would you go to a random lady and say, can I get a photo with you? And she's like, no, what the fuck? And then you get mad at this random lady. Would you be offended if she says no to your time because she has her own time?
And then she said, I don't want whatever the fuck you think you're supposed to be entitled to whenever you see a celebrity. I don't give a fuck if you think it's selfish of me to say no for a photo or for your time or for a hug. That's not normal. That's weird. It's weird how people think that you know a person just because you see them online or you listen to the art they make. I'm allowed to say no to creepy behavior. So I feel like that's what Dana was saying in the beginning with her Libra rising is people will always feel entitled to more with her.
Which makes me glad that she has her Venus in Capricorn, a sign of boundaries.
Yes,
Saturn
so
rules
she's
sign.
Putting up boundaries. I mean, at least she's trying
her fourth
to.
house too, protecting her privacy.
Right.
I do think it's interesting. Like, I know people get very obsessed with celebrities, but I also think it's like, that's kind of the trade-off when you're a celebrity is like, people are going to think that they could talk to you in public.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could feel other celebrities like rolling their eyes when she posted that, like I'm hoping some fans took that to heart. But yeah, I think it's just
I also think something an argument against her being an industry plant. Because wouldn't she want this?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be
Yes.
exactly what industry plants are chasing?
Yes.
Why? I don't know why I'm
they
playing
wouldn't
this
let
argument.
her. They don't. We believe you. I'm in full agreement that she's not an industry plant. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is gonna garner her any favors, but at the same time, it's like maybe she just felt like she had to do this because it's the only way she could think of for putting up boundaries. I don't know. But again, she's like a girl from the Midwest. This is all very shocking behavior to her.
Yeah, when I see celebrities I like, I would never be, I don't know, confident. I just would never approach them. I just would be excited. Like I was like at a zoo, like I see a tiger, like I would be excited, but I would never be like, hey, can I get a picture with you?
Just treat celebrities like you are at the zoo. You can take pictures maybe of them from far away, but not up close. I mean, that is weird, but oh God. But anyway, Dana, what was going on when she put out the TikTok video?
So this was August 19th, 2024, and you'll never believe it, guys. It's the exact day of the Jupiter-Saturn square. So Jupiter in Gemini, squaring Saturn in Pisces. All of August is like mutable hell, but this is a major square in the Jupiter. It's the first hard aspect since the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, aka the Great Conjunction, which took place in like December 20th, 2020. So that was at 0 degrees Aquarius. So now we're getting this square at 17 degrees of Pisces and Gemini. So Jupiter is her Time Lord of 2024 and Saturn's her Time Lord of 2025. So these are two really major planets for her. And also because Jupiter rules her Sun and Moon and Saturn rules her chart ruler Venus. But anyway, August, again, like I said, is mutable madness. There's multiple planet squares, including Jupiter and Mars are in Gemini, Saturn's in Pisces, and then Venus is in Virgo, and then the moon in mutable, the moon triggering all of these as it moves through the zodiac. So this is about tension. It's about aching for a change. It's about entitlement, mental health struggles, piping up and piping down. This person said on Instagram, her name's Diana. I think it's Diana Rose, that like you can either go fast or you can go deep, but you can't do both unless you want to get injured, which I just thought was a really smart way to put it. But yeah, also important is that Jupiter in Gemini rules Saturn in Pisces and Mercury is retrograde most of August, which of course rules Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. So again, this sort of really speaks to going deep or going fast, but it's a good time for making changes, but they have to be slow and deliberate. So I I agree with you, Sarah, for sure that, like, of course this comes with the territory, but because I like her, I also really like, it would be cool if she was able to change her fate, I guess. I think everyone should be afforded that, but since I like her, I'm more emotionally invested. Anyway, Chappell's very mutable. She has her moon in Sagittarius, and then her sun, Jupiter, and Mars all in Pisces, her south node too. So this is sort of like, it makes sense that she'd be speaking up right now. It's sort of invasive. It's an attack on the psyche. She really, like, a square is when you have to do something because you feel crazy if you don't, or you feel deeply uncomfortable. So mutables need to make a change. And that's what literally they're mutable. All mutable signs end a season, they go into the next season. So it's what change is about. And mutable squares are a great time for making those changes and having important conversations. Of course, 2 of the mutable signs, Mercury and Virgo, are ruled by Mercury, the sign of, or the planet of communication. And then her natal Mars is directly in the crossfire of the Jupiter-Saturn square. It's at 20 degrees. So she really does need to speak up. And with Mars, she needs to defend herself against people. She feels really like called and, compelled to do this. She feels like people are entitled to her energy, especially with her Libra and Pisces placements really do struggle with that. Like, because they want to give people their energy, but because it's giving, it's like also taking. And then with Pisces having its ruler in Jupiter and then its exaltation ruler being Venus, the 2 benefics, it like really struggles with that. So then her moon Pluto conjunction comes in and it's in Sagittarius and it's like, no, the fuck, you're not entitled to my energy. So also I just want to end with saying stan culture is pathological. Because remember that song, Stan is so pathological.
I was just wondering when I was thinking about stans, do you think Eminem originated
Yeah, he did.
the idea of a stan?
That's exactly where it comes from, that song.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the etymology.
Does?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This really is.
Dear Stan, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. Of myself, I like singing that song in the shower a lot. To myself. So, anyway, ignore me. Sorry.
Oh my God. Wow, I did not know that. What a fun tidbit that we learned.
I'm sorry. I'm violating my own boundaries right now.
Okay. So now that we know you sing that in the shower.
Mhm.
So Chappell had previously said that she told herself she would consider quitting music if fans' behavior crossed the line. And right now she is at that line. She said she's had to pump the brakes on anything that would make her more known right now.
Yeah, I saw she posted something. She posted something that was like, I hope that I don't regret all the no's I've been saying, because she's just been saying no to literally everything right now. And she's like, I'm worried that I'll regret it someday, but I feel like I have to do that for my own mental
Saturn
boundaries
transiting
right now.
Pisces, it's a good time to be saying no, Chappell.
All right, Chappell, you're doing all the right things. Listen to your gut.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely seems like she's in a weird place right now. I mean, all of this is very overwhelming. I don't blame her. But we're actually going to check out her transits and do our predictions about her on the Patreon. So you'll have to sign up for our Patreon for $5 a month. You get all this extra amazing bonus content, and you'll get to learn about what the future holds for Chappell Roan, aka Cleo Patron. So with that, I'm Elise.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is the Pink Pony Club, JK. This is allegedly astrology.
Oh, I love that.
Bye.
Bye. What have
Pink
you
Pony
done?
Club reminds me of those big pony polos.